Welcome aboard. Howdy, I'm Jan Mickelson. I'll still remember the day when I was living in Cincinnati, Ohio as a talk show host. One of the sales ladies came into the building. She was just crying uncontrollably. Something that just had happened to her. She had been thriving as a salesperson to the point where she went out and bought her first brand new car, which was sitting outside in the parking lot at the radio station. And apparently somebody had vandalized it. They had either used a nail or a car key and went from the back all the way to the front, scratching the brand new shiny paint on this car, right down to the metal. There was no way you could just buff that out. And she was grief-stricken over the destruction of her brand new car that she'd worked so hard for. And she came in the station and she was inconsolable. And she finally just looked at us and asked the rhetorical question, why would somebody do that to my car? And I thought about that for a long time. I'll tell you another story. I have a friend who lives in England, and he invited me to come to visit him. His family has an ancient collectible car that's a Bentley. And I said, I'd love to come to England and visit you. Then we could go ride in the Bentley in the countryside. And the guy wrote back, no, we can't ride the Bentley. I said, why not? He said the neighbors would throw rocks at us. Then I asked a stupid question. Why would the neighbors throw rocks at you and your Bentley, your family's Bentley, a beautiful masterpiece collectible car? And his answer was because they don't have one. Simple as that. So why does this happen anyway? And I finally came up with the answer after reading a book by the name of Idols for Destruction by Herbert Schlossberg. In the book, it describes a word, and it's a French word. The word looks like it's resentment. The French pronounce it ressentiment, which is a combination of envy and rage, covetousness plus anger and envy and rage. Let me quote from Idols for Destruction briefly. Resentment does much to explain the experience of crimes that otherwise were thought as senseless. They are senseless from a materialist perspective because the criminal does not gain anything tangible from the action, but he's striking at the object of his resentment. His crime is as rational as he had made off with the crown jewels. He has gained what he has desired. Resentment values its own welfare less than it does the debasement or harm of its object. Many crimes of vandalism, brutality, and murder can be explained this way. We don't usually think of these terms in our culture because we are the repository of Christian ethics. We were a Christian country with a Christian character at one point where number 10 on the list of things thou shalt nots was thou shalt not covet. We were spared the underpinnings of the politics of envy and resentment. But Alinsky recreated our culture so that we reward covetous now. And politicians that wage the class war on the basis of resentment are rewarded in the political marketplace. And a lot of fake love is passed off as a Christian attribute. Really, it's not love at all. When people venerate the poor or weak, they're really not venerating the poor or weak at all. They are simply attacking the powerful and successful by pretending to venerate the weakness of the poor, by telling the poor, you're not responsible for your condition. You're a victim. Elect me and I can go get somebody else's success and give it to you. It is the spoken transaction of the Alinsky model that was perfected by Hillary and perfected even more by Obama. And you'll see the language of resentment used in the healthcare debate all the time. Once you realize they're using their alleged concern for the sick as an attack on the resources of the wealthy, much of what is served up as political discourse is just disguised resentment. And much of the mainstream media's focus on the foibles of Trump and his tweets and his discomfort resulting from the incessant carping of the mainstream media is the opposite side of the resentment coin, which is Schadenfreude, the German word for celebrating the weakness and failure of others, getting a sense of satisfaction when Donald Trump, who's so successful, gets bogged down in the political quagmire and mud and spins his back wheels. They get a sense of satisfaction seeing Donald Trump struggle to accomplish his political goals, and they celebrate every one of his failures. It's the Schadenfreude. When one side tries to stimulate one or the other notion, they are playing at it for our worst possible instincts. Do not fall for it. Thou shalt not covet means you don't celebrate the failures of others. Schadenfreude and resentment are the twin peaks of Alinskyism. Don't fall for it. Let me again recommend Idols for Destruction. Herbert Schlossberg is the author. One of the best books I have ever read on the culture war. I'm Jan Mickelson. Click to subscribe and join me on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for listening.